Hello, this is Hero of Legend from GoingSony.com, and welcome to this week's episode of the Weekly Recap, where I'll take a look at the biggest stories from May 7th to May 11th. The June edition of Game Informer has been revealed, with their cover story being Ben Studios' Days Gone, which was announced a couple of years ago at E3. Readers of the site will know that I am not particularly excited for this game. When it was first announced, I felt it lacked uniqueness, and it looked honestly kind of bland and boring. But I'm slowly getting more excited about the game. A few details that I found a little interesting were that it has been in development for 5 years, with more than 100 developers now working on the game, which is always great. The longer a game is in development, I like to think the better it can potentially be. As far as the game itself, the story picks up several years after a pandemic has ravaged the United States, and the plot is actually not about finding a cure, and is simply about survival. But there will be large towns to explore, which is always exciting, and there will not be any fetch quest or time trials. I myself do not mind fetch quests, but I know a lot of people don't like them, but I don't care for time trials, so I'm happy to see that they're going to be doing something a little bit more unique as far as the quest. What I really found unique, though, or maybe not unique, but interesting, is they said that the story can change depending on the decisions that are made, which is nothing new. But they talked about how leaving an ally behind and whether or not you leave a shotgun with them or you take the shotgun with you could have a different result. And I'm honestly kind of hoping they take that level of decision making and changing the story to a whole different level. A lot of games, they like to pretend that they're giving you a lot of choices, but in the end, those choices don't really change much. And honestly, I find it more of an annoyance in that case than anything else. So hopefully E3 will give us a really good look at features that are going to give it that uniqueness that I think it really needs. This next bit of news shouldn't actually be news, but unfortunately it has to be. Blizzard has released a new skin in Overwatch for Mercy. They're calling it Pink Mercy, and it was done in collaboration with the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Anyone who buys the skin, which is available until May 21st, their proceeds will go to BCRF to help find a cure. I think it's a great initiative by them, but some people are upset about it. The first thing that some people are upset about is the price. It is $15, which is a lot for a skin, I admit, but it's for charity, so it's really hard to complain about it. I think that the fact that Blizzard did anything at all is really commendable, and if $15 is what it takes to make a real difference, then I think it's worth that. And I hope they continue to do stuff like this in the future, which kind of brings me to my second point. Some people are upset about the idea that it's a breast cancer charity. And some people find that to be exclusive to men, which I don't really know what to say about that. I feel that maybe those people should be patient. This is the first of its kind, the first skin of its kind, and who knows what Blizzard's going to do in the future. You know, maybe they will do other charities and, you know, other events. I imagine, though, that the people complaining don't really care about it, and they more or less just want to complain about something, which is unfortunate because, again, it's for a great cause, and I hope that Blizzard is not deterred in the future. In other news, EA has confirmed that Anthem will launch in March of next year, assuming it doesn't get delayed, and they also talked a little bit about their expectations and wanting to keep them low since it's a new IP. I gotta admit, Anthem is easily one of my most anticipated titles, but it is also the one that has me worried the most. I think a lot of people, including myself, are getting the impression that BioWare's future is riding on this game. And I'm worried that they know that, and that they're going to make poor decisions with that information. Obviously, Anthem needs to be successful. And as far as microtransactions go, I'm worried that BioWare is going to try to modernize everything they possibly can in the hopes that it'll pull in a ton of money. And I think it'll have the opposite effect. I think you're going to see a lot of people get upset, and if they get upset, then it's going to be dead before it even launches. So I cannot express how much I want them to be hyper aware of exactly what's going on in the games industry today, and how they can make a game that, even if it does have microtransactions, does it in a way that isn't a slap in the face of their fans. Because if they go just a little bit too far, I think people won't even give Anthem a second look. And that could spell doom for BioWare after what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda. Looking to brighter news, Capcom has announced that Monster Hunter World has hit 7.9 million units sold, making it their best-selling game of all time. Second is now Resident Evil 5, which has sold 7.5 million. And third is Resident Evil 6, which sits at 7.1 million. I couldn't be more excited for this. Monster Hunter World is a fantastic game. More importantly, it is a really good example of a multiplayer game that does not have loot boxes and still finds incredible success financially. I hope that Capcom runs with this and approves a larger budget. You know, Monster Hunter World was great, but it wasn't perfect. I would love, in a sequel, I would love to see better online integration. Online is great, but I felt that it wasn't as smooth as it could have been, amongst other things. I would also love for there to just be more monsters. But regardless of what they decide to do, I'm very hopeful and confident that they're going to continue to make the right decisions for this series, because, again, Monster Hunter World hit it right out of the park. This week's rumor review will actually take a look at not so much a rumor, but I think more of a leak. Walmart's Canadian site listed a whole batch of unannounced games. And I think they've actually come out now and said that it was an error on their part. But amongst those games are The Division 2, Just Cause 4, Rage 2, Borderlands 3, and an Assassin's Creed game, which I found odd because I assumed that we weren't getting an Assassin's Creed game this year. So who knows what that is. But this leak has almost seemingly been confirmed by Bethesda, because the official Twitter account for Rage tweeted this image where they critique Walmart's listing of Rage 2. And even though it's obviously not a direct confirmation, I can't imagine it isn't true. Because if it wasn't, I don't see why they would comment at all. The question, of course, is the rest of it true? A little spoilery for E3, sure, but I don't know. None of these are too crazy. We know Borderlands 3 is in development, even though I'm very excited for it. So we don't have too much longer to wait. E3, again, is right around the corner, and I'm sure we're going to start seeing more and more leaks as we get there, with the only problem being discerning which ones are real and which ones aren't. Finally, Sony has announced the date of their E3 2018 press conference, which will be held on June 11th at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. They go into a little bit more detail on the PlayStation blog, revealing that while other titles will be announced, there's going to be a specific focus on Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man, The Last of Us 2, and Death Stranding. Which, of course, all four of those are highly anticipated games, but the one that interests me the most is Death Stranding. We still know almost nothing about this game, And if they really are going to give us our true first look at this game with gameplay and more details revealed, then this could be one of their more exciting E3 press conferences ever. And that's all from me this week. As always, any suggestions are more than welcome. This is the third video that I've made, and I like to think that I'm getting better at it, but if anyone has an opinion on things that I could be doing better, things that I could change, I am all ears. I cannot express how much those suggestions mean to me. As far as next week, I am currently writing a review for Omensight, so that'll go live on the site on Tuesday. So look forward to that. And other than that, I will see you all next week.